But he's the type of person, he'll analyze it, he'll be quiet, and then at the end he'll just shock you. And that's what everybody, welcome to my channel, Miss Criticizer 2021. Hope you all are doing well and hope you had a wonderful week. Now, how many of you are watching Love is Blind this new season, season 3? Yeah? How many of you are watching? My God. Anyway, I think I finished the season. It's left with 3 more episodes because it left on a cliffhanger. I'm just going to do a summary based on what I've seen from each and every single couple. So you know what? The video is going to be about each and every single couple. For me, I'll start with, in my opinion, the most relevant couple, which was SK and Raven, and also because we've managed to see what happens in the end. This is a spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the show, make sure you watch it before you watch my video. Anyway, if you're here for the very first time, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you. Now, Raven and Simone. What the hell is wrong with me? Did I just say Raven Simone? I meant Raven and SK. My God. Anyway, Raven and SK. So, I'll start with Raven first. And we know that she's a Pilates instructor, Pilates/yoga instructor. You know, I mean, each scene is of her doing some kind of movement, exercise, you name it, anything. So I said she has to promote it each single time. So she was connecting with 2 guys, Bartise and SK. And I saw that she was leaning more towards Bartise because basically she visualized that, of course, Bartise, he's a tall, athletic guy. He goes to the gym just like her. And hey, he has some things going on for himself. Until he said that he's an accountant. And let me tell you, when it comes to accountants, they're very, very stingy people. And Bartise said, in other words, that, you know, he's the kind of person that he doesn't squander his money like that. In other words, he's not going to be providing for her, and she's used to a certain kind of lifestyle. So I'm like I said, this girl, in each and every scene, she showing herself working out. When Bartise was pouring his heart out to Raven, what did she end up doing in the pods? Jumping jacks. Bartise could even see through her reflection that she was doing jumping jacks while they were having a deep conversation, while he's here pouring his heart out. Like, the girl is crazy. Anyway, now it came to SK, and of course he made it clear he's a Nigerian. He is doing well. He's living in Dallas. And he's a data scientist. So, of course, Raven heard, ding, 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 Nigerian data scientist equals to money. Of course, she's going to lean towards him. He seems more mature. I think he's also the oldest guy on the cast, but to me, he looks like the youngest. And so eventually, long story short, she ended up going for SK. So when it was time to unravel the looks, and she saw SK for the very first time, she was underwhelmed. And of course, she was running to him fast, like, oh my God, I cannot believe it's you. But you could just see that she wasn't into him. Like, come on. He went ahead to propose to her. We'll see how it goes. So, it seems like within the first 2 days, they're sleeping at the edge of the bed. They're not really holding each other. There's no really physical touch. It takes time for you to see her for her. That's what she said, and that she doesn't give in so easily. And I think that's a big lie, because let's just be honest, if you're really, really into somebody, you are going to jump their bones at each chance you get. You don't need to sleep with them the first night, but at least, hey, kissing. So it didn't get to that. And of course, you know, SK is a very calm guy. He's calm, he's reserved, he's a Scorpio, and he's quite intense, but he's very, I feel that he's just very relaxed. And I think, you know, some women, they just don't like that. They want like a bad boy type of guy, a guy who has like 1000% confidence and who owns the room when he gets there. Sometimes that confidence also plays a huge part. You know, being a bit aggressive and the alpha male, but he's just more like the calm guy, the nerd and all that. But hey, there are some women, they're also begging for such guys. I don't understand us women. We want the bad guys. When these bad guys do us wrong, then that's when we say, okay, we want to switch up. I don't understand this. But anyway, moving on. So that day, I think after 2 days or 3 days, she said, hey, I cannot wait for this dinner to meet the other castmates and all that. And of course she couldn't wait because she wasn't feeling SK like that. She was maybe curious to see like, okay, some of the other guys that I spoke to in the pod, how do they look like? So of course they all had this get together, and she saw Bartiz and she's like, okay, that's a fine guy. He's tall, he's huge, he's yellow boned like me. So but she said, you know what, I'm just glad that I stuck to my decision. So maybe she's trying to take the route like, you know what, it's not all about looks, it's about the inside and all that. Making a long story short, eventually SK and Raven, they got to bond. They were having more off-air, meaningful, in-depth conversations, and she managed to lean towards him, and they, of course, finally they kissed, and then I think after some days, then they made love. That's according to what SK said the night before. So of course SK said that, listen, you know, I'm Nigerian, this is my Nigerian culture, my mom is passing by, and the mother cooked Nigerian dish. I think it was amala with egusi or something like that. And just that whole scene. Let me just talk about the whole Nigerian integration thing in general, yeah? First thing is that when SK tried to teach her a couple of Yoruba words, he said, I think bawuni. Listen, I'm not Nigerian, but he said like bawuni, and she said, oh, it sounds like baloney. Okay, and he said Yoruba. I said, oh, it sounds like Aruba. I'm like, girl, let the language sound like it sounds. Why are you trying to still convert it to something English? It reminds me of also how some people have said some African words. I think it's like a South African word or something like that I've heard before. And somebody said, oh, it sounds Italian. It sounds, wow, it sounds like Italian. Let it sound African for what it is. If you go to Italy or you go to Spain and they are speaking Spanish, will you say it's sounding like this African word? Come on, man. Let it, just leave it to the identity. Anyway, moving along. She said she likes spicy food, but when it was time to eat the amala, I think, with the food, she said, oh, can I use fork? Oh, do you swallow it? Oh, listen, I understand culture shock, yeah? For some people, it's very overwhelming when they try new things from new cultures. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think in the West, we've been so accustomed and so used to the standard way of doing things that when it is out of the zone, if it's out of that zone, the Western zone, then it seems abnormal to us. It seems very overwhelming to us. It seems that like it's so new, you know? And I'm like, you don't mind going to a Japanese restaurant eating with sticks, sushi with sticks, if you want to try something new. Nobody complains that. When it comes to African food in general, people, or even just everything African, people just automatically look down on it. It can even be the most nicest food ever, but people will just generally look down on it. They'll feel it is too terrible, it's too that, everything that's African. And I'm like, if that African food was, for example, an Italian dish and they put an Italian name on it, people would have gone for it. Forget about how nowadays it's been normalized. African food is finally getting the respect that it deserves. You know, there's more dishes aside from jollof rice. They're hopping on all those YouTube trends that even you have some people, a specific YouTuber, which we already know, Aaliyah J, when she made that ignorant video about when she was trying Nigerian food, talking about it looks like dog food. She did not expect that Nigerian Twitter will come for that. You don't insult people's food. You don't insult people's culture. Anyway, let me get back to the topic. I know that Raven was trying to be as respectful as possible. No problem. She wants to eat with the fork. Hey, do what you want to do. Me personally, when it comes to people's culture, I don't joke with it. I really don't joke. If you tell me, okay, this is how we do it, you know, then of course I will do that, because it's the culture. You show respect to the culture. Even if you don't like it, at least you try a couple of bites. People who are well traveled, they know better. But when it comes to certain people, I don't know, they just tend to be ignorant. Anyway, moving along. SK mom loves her, and they managed to bond. So getting back to the Nigerian food thing too. Also, I'm not sure why Raven is acting like this is her first time to anything Nigerian, considering that she said she had 2 Nigerian best friends. I'm not sure what was up with those 2 Nigerian best friends. Did they never try at least once to you know, show their culture to her? Not that it's a must, but whenever we have friends, I have friends from other parts of the world, and they show me their culture. I also show them my culture, and we learn from each other. But I'm not sure about Raven, like as if she has never experienced I don't know, as if she just acted like she's completely new to all that. But I'm just a bit shocked about that. But anyway, moving along, maybe those 2 friends too, they were also lost. Maybe they were not, reason why I'm saying lost is maybe they're the type that are not really connected to their culture. But hey, moving along. So we meet up with Raven's 2 friends, not the Nigerian ones, but the American friends. And they were just talking about, oh, okay, she met this guy and all that. They said to SK that Raven is a high maintenance girl. Yeah, she's a high maintenance girl. Her lifestyle is quite high maintenance. This whole Pilates thing and the whole yoga thing, her lifestyle, she has clientele, etc., etc. Even when she goes to the salon, she pays $500 for her hair. And I'm like, what? Raven, are you kidding me? Bottle service girl, you spend $500 on your hair? Anyway, so that's what the friend said. The friend said, are you able to maintain her lifestyle? And SK said, listen, once I get married to her, my duty as a husband is to provide for her and to help her in all those things. The 2 friends said, huh, he might maybe get his heart broken, because we know how vain Raven is. Yeah, and also when the friends saw SK, they knew that he was not her type, you know, but they're like, okay, she's going out of the ordinary. So now moving along, this is a important conversation that between SK and Raven, just about the life decisions, things coming up. The first grievances that SK has with Raven is that we haven't met your family. None of your family members are going to attend this wedding. Why is that? And this thing is bothersome to my mom. Of course, Raven said that, oh, you know, you've met my mom on FaceTime. I have a very small family. I only have my mom, my grandma, and my uncle. I don't have any siblings, blah, blah, blah. And I've done everything to, I've accustomed myself to your culture, and I've done everything to integrate. So it's like everything I'm doing for you and your family is not good enough, because they always have something to say. So SK said, listen, at the end of the day, I love you and we can still figure it out, blah, 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 blah. That was the first part of the discussion. Now, the second part of the discussion is that SK said he's planning his MBA program in California. And he's going to be a full-time student, so he will be moving from Dallas to California. and that's going to be something that again is time consuming, and they might possibly be in a long distance marriage. And Raven is like, but if that's the case, then like why? You know, I didn't get into this thing to be in a long distance marriage. And also Raven said, you still end up paying for my apartment at the end of the day. You know, you might be in California, but I still need you to pay for my apartment. And I said, yep, sugar baby. And he's like, he was stuck, but again, he just said, okay. So I'm like, SK, I'm not sure if you're a people's pleaser, but hey, it is what it is. You're just the calm type, yeah? And my thing is with SK, if you knew that you were going to be a full-time student, why did you come on this show to get married? I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it, because long distance marriage is a nightmare. It is hell. I don't wish that on anybody. That is a death sentence for a marriage, yeah? And your main focus, you'll be a full-time student in a different state. No. I'm with Raven on that one. Now, when it came to the gala shopping, of course, Raven went with SK's mom to the Nigerian fabric store to get like the gala headgear and maybe possibly a Nigerian outfit. But Raven said that she wants to stick to the American traditional outfit, so it's going to be a blend, yeah. And of course, as usual, they explained to Raven that, you know, in the Nigerian culture, the woman has to be submissive. Your husband is your king. No matter what, you need to pamper your husband, cater to your man. I want to cater to you because, baby, this is your day. I'll do anything for my man. You know you blow me away. I got your slippers, your nene, your dessert, and so much more. So that's what they're basically asking, like, okay, you cater to your man, is the culture, blah blah blah, this and that. And I'm like, even if you earn more than him, I'm like, listen, I'm West African. I know that the Nigerian culture in the whole of Africa, I would say, is the most marriage orientated country, and that's a good thing. We know that most of their men are alpha male. They like to provide. They like to take care of the house. I like that about Nigerian men, yeah? But it has gotten to the point where the society forces you to get married at such a young age. They force you. If you're not married, nobody takes you seriously. It's like you're a nobody if you're not a missus. And then you have to do everything to keep the man. And these men, they know it. That's why they get away with so many things. They get away with cheating. They get away with abuse. All in the name of, my wife is never going to divorce me. Because divorce is looked down in Nigerian society. It's like the men, they know they have the upper hand. And that lets them misbehave anytime. There's no accountability of the men. I'm just being honest. There are good Nigerian men, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it creates a toxic society, yeah? Listen, if I'm a woman and I earn more, I'm not saying I'm not going to disrespect my husband. Respect is mutual, yeah? It's a 50-50 street. You respect me, I respect you. It's not that, oh, I'm earning the most, I have a husband who earns the least. He's not making any effort, and he thinks that I should cook for him, I should clean, I should take care of the kids. Then what's the point? What is the point? All in the name of being a missus in that same situation that I'm giving my opinion. Anyway, to make a long story short, the final scene is the D-Day, the wedding, yeah? Everything looked good. I loved the setting. I loved the Yoruba drummers. I loved everything. I loved SK's Agbada and everything. And then our girl, Raven, came down the aisle. She looked so beautiful. And then, when they had to say their vows, I saw that SK was shivering. SK was shivering, and he said, they asked him, do you want to take Raven as your lawful wife? And he said, and the mom was like, not. And I said, gosh, is this a joke? He said, I do not. He said, listen, I'm not saying no to us. I'm just saying that it's too soon for us to get married. And I see marriage as a long-term commitment. and he just cannot do it. And of course Raven was devastated. He said, I love you, but she was just so devastated she ran out. And of course the mom, SK's mom, spoke to Raven, and she's like, I'm devastated because I really wanted him to marry you, you know. And she said, what can I do, you know, I'm just so sad, like I've done everything for this guy and only for him to say no. So that's the end of the Raven and SK drama. Now my opinion, yeah, SK, he bottled up his feelings. He's that kind of calm person. You see him, he's very calm. You would think that he's a people's pleaser just because he was basically how do I say this? He was basically giving in on everything that this woman, that Raven, said. He was not even challenging her. Even when he disagreed with her, he just kept quiet and he said, okay, no problem, we'll make it work, we'll make it work. So people thought that he was a people's pleaser and that he's like, okay, yes, man. But he's the type of person, he'll analyze it, he'll be quiet, and then at the end, he'll just shock you. And that's what he did. You know, I'm not surprised. In the beginning, I did not like them together. I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, I said it's not going to work between them because there's just a lot of differences. You know, Raven, Raven, I had mixed feelings. I did not like her at first because I'm like, oh, this girl is just so vain. She's just too much about herself. But down the line, I saw a vulnerable side of her and she opened up to SK. She showed her vulnerability to him. But then I said, okay, maybe this could go somewhere because eventually she learned to love him. For some people, the spark is there within 1 second. But in this case, it took time for them to really connect with each other. And I said, maybe this would work. And I wished that on them. I'm not gonna lie, towards the end. And then he said no. And I said, you know what? I understand why he said no. Marriage is forever. You're not going to marry to divorce. You're not going to marry and say that, oh, this is not for me. Like Amber Rose and Wiz Khalifa's marriage that just lasted 1 year. You're not going to do that. Or even Cynthia and Mike. Their marriage also just lasted 1 or 2 years. Marriage is forever. It's a lifetime commitment. He said he's not saying no to the relationship, but he's saying no to the marriage. So that's about it. Different opinions. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about it. What do you like this season? Like I said, I wasn't planning on watching Love is Blind. I think I've only watched the first season. I didn't watch the second season. And I didn't plan to watch this third season. But I said, you know what? Let me just give it a try. It's a good season. But am I sure that there's a genuine couple this season? Only one. Only one. But you'll find out in my next video. So the next video is going to be about Colleen and Bartise. Watch out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you. Bye-bye.